When perfectionism is driving, shame is always riding shotgun, and fear is the annoying backseat driver. We struggle with perfectionism in areas where we feel most vulnerable to shame. Here's what perfectionism really is. It's a way of thinking that says this: if I look perfect, live perfect, work perfect, I can avoid or minimize criticism, blame, and ridicule.
Whoa, that's good.
All perfectionism is the 20-ton shield that we carry around hoping that it'll keep us from being hurt. When in truth, what it does is it keeps us from being seen. Here's the difference. Because sometimes I'm a healthy striver.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm a perfectionist. It depends on if I'm feeling, if I've got a worthiness crunch going on. So healthy striving is internally focused. It's I want to do this and be the best I can be. Perfectionism is not about what I want. Perfectionism is exactly what will people think.
Yes.
When perfection
Hey, welcome everyone to episode number 207 of The State of Fitness. Today is what? April 24th, 2024. Thank you for joining me. I hope you are doing well. Looks like my mic is on and all that good stuff seems to be working. This is your first time joining me. Welcome. I am David Greenwalt. I'm the founder of Leanness Lifestyle University. And for now 25 years and counting, since 1999, we've been using science and experience to help our client members, students, get to and live at the weight they choose in the body and with the fitness they desire so they can live their best life. For first timers on these states of fitness, it can be anything weight management oriented, health or fitness oriented, anything that's top of mind for the week, but always with you in mind to make sure it's of interest to you. Anything that's the latest and something I'm interested in that I think you're going to be interested in and benefit from in some way, shape, or form. This is my 207th State of Fitness since February 5th of 2020. So let's get right to it. We're going to highlight some students and then take it from there. Here we go. Okay, pounds lost in the last 6 weeks. These students have lost at least 10 pounds in the last 6 weeks, so I want to highlight them. Congratulations, well done everyone on this list. Michelle at 10.2 pounds, Lance at 10.6, Christy at 10.9, Glenn at 12.2, Caroline at 12.6, Christiane at 13, Sue at 13.3, Matt at 13.7, Jessica at 15.3, Therese at 16.5, Brian and Deb at 20 pounds each, and Rob at the top at 24.4 pounds gone in the past 6 weeks. Way to go, everyone. Outstanding work. Next up, percent of weight lost in 6 weeks. Kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Somebody that might weigh 150 pounds, percent of weight loss evens out when we're considering someone who might be much heavier. So we do it that way too. So I took students who have lost at least 5% of their weight as of 6 weeks ago in the last 6 weeks. So Sandra lost 5.3%, Michelle at 5.4%, Christiane and Jessica at 6.2%, Sue and Therese at 6.4%, Matt at 6.7%, Caroline at 7.6%, Brian at 8.1%, Rob at 8.8%, and Deb at 9.2% of her body weight gone in 6 weeks. That's substantial. Anyone who's lost, no matter how long it's taken you, if you've lost at least 5% of your excess, you have lost a medically relevant amount of weight. At 10%, there's no question. Medically relevant, life extending, health span improving. So it doesn't have to be 30%, 40%, 50% of the excess gone before you start to really get into the scientific benefits for doing so. 5% or more, you're there. So congratulations everyone on this list because you've done that in the last 6 weeks. This list is our maintainers list. These are students who have achieved their lifetime goal and have maintained within 10 pounds of their lifetime goal for the number of days you see in the days column. They've kept off the amount of weight you see in the weight lost column. So I want to say congratulations again to everyone here. Thank you for continuing to lead the way, showing everyone that it can be done, and for exemplifying what it is that we're here to do. Lose the weight one more time for the last time. The students highlighted in green have kept their weight off for at least a year. They're what we call master's candidates. And once they've kept their weight off for at least 2 years, they will have earned their master's. That's the students in orange. They've earned their master's. They've kept their weight off for at least 2 years. They're on their way to keeping their weight off for at least 4 consecutive years so they can earn their PhD. That's the students in blue. They've kept the weight off for at least 4 consecutive years. They're current members, active, current, enrolled, and they have kept their weight off for at least 4 years. Congratulations, everyone. Outstanding work, and way to continue to, again, inspire us all. Okay? I'm going to do a review this week. This week I want to do a review, but updated, of course. Make sure it's current, relevant, make sure I'm bringing in anything new that's been on my mind for the last however many months or longer since the last time I really talked about this subject. And this updated review is going to be on something that I refer to as the beast. So, what's the beast? The beast is the personification of all obesogenic forces. Whew, it's a lot of syllables there, right? The personification, 6 syllables just in that one, of all obesogenic forces. Hang with me. What are obesogenic forces? Obesogenic forces are all of the external and internal forces that promote overeating and or discourage physical activity. In other words, all things that promote obesity. In modern societies, especially the United States, how are we doing against the beast, as I refer to it, all obesogenic forces? Not good. 70% of Americans are overweight, 43% are obese, and it's projected that by 2030, 50% of Americans will be obese. I see no reason to disbelieve that, and if I thought so, I'd say so. But I see no reason to disbelieve that. I think that's the trajectory that we're on, 50% obese by 2030. Even with the drugs that are out there that millions of people are supposedly on. To say the beast is a formidable foe would be a great understatement. But why say the beast is the personification of all obesogenic forces? Why not just refer to the obesogenic forces as that, obesogenic forces? Why call it the beast? Why say it's the personification of all those forces? The reason for using the beast as the personification of all obesogenic forces, by doing so, we can give it, the beast, a face and a voice. And that's going to be important in my opinion, and I'll explain that in a moment. By using the beast to personify all the obesogenic forces, we can make the space between the stimulus and response not an argument with ourselves. So between the stimulus and the response is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. It's a quote by Dr. Viktor Frankl that I probably quote more than any other quote there is here at LLU. Between the stimulus and between the stimulus and response is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. So if we personify, if we say the beast is the personification of obesogenic forces, then within that space, when we are trying to make that choice and we are in an argument, we don't have to argue with ourselves, and that'll make more sense in a moment. Because when we argue with ourselves, we often don't win. But instead of arguing with ourselves, we can turn it into an argument with a truly malevolent force. One that masquerades as a friend, but in reality is the most narcissistic enemy that you know. The beast is not a he or a she. The beast is just an it. It's the personification of all obesogenic forces. That's it. The beast has one goal, and only one according to my model. That one goal is this: to get you to take the first bite. If it can get you to take the first bite, it wins. Why? Because if you take the first off-plan or triggered eating bite, there will be a second, a third, often a 10th, or a 20th. All it has to do is get you to take the first one. When we consider even the common external and internal obesogenic forces, it'll make sense in just a moment. But when we consider even the common ones, it's not hard to see why it's so hard in modern times unless we've got everything in place, all the 6 pillars in place. Because once we do, then it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard at all. But For the people that aren't here, for the people that are ignorant, which doesn't mean they're dumb, they just don't have the knowledge. Ignorance is not having the knowledge. For the people who are ignorant, for the people who don't know about the 6 pillars that I teach and that we stand on, that our foundation is built on here at LLU. For the people that don't know, it's not a wonder that it's so hard in our modern times to avoid first bites and to engage in even moderate levels of physical activity. Remember, the obesogenic forces promote overeating and or discourage physical activity. So before I share my short list, it's not all-encompassing. No one probably has the all-encompassing list, but mine's fairly comprehensive. But before I share the list of obesogenic forces, I'll start with the single greatest factor, in my opinion, contributing to obesity. The proliferation of ultra-processed food with displacement of real food is the single greatest factor driving obesity. In English, 60 to 90% of what we eat is ultra-processed food. Real food has been crowded out. And in my opinion, based on all I know about ultra-processed food, its addictive properties, and all that our society has been turned into since the widespread introduction of them as of about 70, maybe 100 years ago. No doubt, in my opinion, that the proliferation, the displacement of real food, the crowding out of real food by ultra-processed food is the single greatest factor contributing to obesity. But recognizing how ultra-processed food seeps into every nook and cranny of our existence is the crux for understanding the obesogenic environment. There are external obesogenic factors. Remember, I said it's all obesogenic factors, external and internal. There are external factors like 24/7 access to ultra-processed food, right? Convenience, all the convenience. Never a time when you don't have access to ultra-processed food. Cheap cost, social norms and expectations. It's a part of every single thing that every single person does. It's a social norm and expectation of ultra-processed food. Big food prioritizes profits over everything. Number one goal, profit. Big food has, with it having profits prioritized over anything, ultra-processed food is cheaper to make and has a higher profit margin. Politicians are flat out paid off. They are influenced, paid off, whatever you want to say. Money, 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 money. Follow the money, you're going to have the answer to just about everything, including this in a big, big way. So, what difference would that make? Well, politicians help to establish policy. They help to establish policy from regulatory bodies that determine how our processed food is processed, what goes in it, what's allowed to go in it, what research has to be done for new industrial additives and so forth before it goes in it, and on and on and on. Huge, huge, huge factor there. Farming subsidies. We subsidize crops that are used widely in the largest scale production of ultra-processed foods. Special interests is an obesogenic factor because special interests are what influence the politicians to get the big food what they want. Money-driven public and pseudo-scientific policy. Bottom line there is that large organizations, governmental, educational, and so forth, stand their ground, clenched fists, supposedly, with science-backed, quote-unquote, science-backed evidence, but it is no doubt influenced by money, driven by money, by big food manufacturers, driving money into these public and scientific policy organizations. In addition to the external obesogenic factors, we have internal obesogenic factors. These can include, but aren't limited to, biological drive. Let's face it, as human beings, we have a biological drive to crave calorie-dense food. It's one of the things that kept us alive for millions of years or hundreds of thousands of years, whatever number you want to use. Okay? Biological drive. We are biologically driven to calorie-dense foods. That has served us well for hundreds of thousands of years, but it actually works against us in many ways in our modern environment, because there is no shortage unless you are truly, truly, truly poor, and don't have the means. There's no such thing as not having available food in modern societies. There are plenty of people in the world who are truly still starving, but we do have a biological drive. I'm talking about modern societies, developed nations, and so forth, like the United States and hundreds of others. Upbringing, parental modeling is a potentially internal obesogenic factor. What have you internalized? Clean plate club? Don't waste anything. There are people starving in Ethiopia, therefore you should eat the blah, blah, blah on your plate, without wasting anything. How many things from your upbringing and parental modeling are driving internal obesogenic factors? Hard to say. Unreconciled trauma. Anything in the past. Doesn't have to be major, could be minor, could be extremely major. But whatever it is, if it's unreconciled, then that could be a factor that is still influencing obesogenic behaviors. Cultural factors, you name it, right? Every culture has aspects that a lot of cultures feel is unique to them, but often aren't that unique. Well, we are just of whatever ethnic origin, and we are just all about the food. How many ethnic origins say they're all about the food? Dozens. But whatever the cultural factors are, they can drive internal obesogenic feelings, right? Because we're talking about the internal things, internal within us. I feel this way. I'm obligated. I have guilt, or I have whatever it may be. I'm just prone to. I'm driven to. Self-limiting stories. What's self-limiting stories? Well, I'm just someone who, in my family, this. We just always that. Long-standing habits plus cars. Conditioned automated responses. You've done it so many times, tens of thousands of times, it's become a conditioned automated response. That can be an internal obesogenic factor. As a factor, let's face it, ultra-processed food provides a reliable instant payoff. It does. In so many ways. We don't do things consistently without a payoff. So anything we do consistently, anything we repeat, in large volumes, over time, there is a payoff. Ultra-processed food provides many payoffs. When we are living on ultra-processed food too much, 60 to 90% of intake in the United States is ultra-processed food, we have compromised brain activity. We have a compromised brain due to active processed food addiction. Okay? There isn't anything positive regarding mental health and cognitive function that occurs with increased use of ultra-processed food. Not one thing we would want to be good going on in the brain improves with increased use of ultra-processed food. It always goes the other way. Another internal one is genetics. Let's not totally exclude genetics. Now, I'm a firm believer that genetics may load the gun, meaning it makes you more susceptible to obesity, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So genetics may load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Genetics may increase the challenges, but they do not prevent success. So to win the battles with the beast, to armor up, if you will, to win the space between stimulus and response, there's a 3-step formula. Step 1, separate it from you. Once you hear the voice, that manipulative one that tempts you to eat off plan, to eat too much, to skip the workout, to hit the snooze button, separate it from you. I need you to separate it from you, not make it you having an argument with yourself. Why? Well, the way most people hear the conversation is in first-person form like this. Watch for all the first-person I's used. One won't hurt. I deserve it. I can start fresh tomorrow. I've been good all week. Just a small portion won't matter. I can work it off later. I might not ever get another chance to fill in the blank. FOMO, right? I only live once. YOLO. You only live once. Life's too short. It's overwhelming. I can't handle this. I've already messed up. Might as well. Right? The what the hell effect. I've already messed up. Might as well. Continue. Don't do that. Everyone else is eating it. Why can't I? Feeling left out instead of gratitude. We're poor-mouthing. When we're poor-mouthing, we're going to be eating. Go to gratitude. All right? And the way most people will describe the conversation is like this: I told myself to, or I convinced myself that. And what I want to make sure you hear me say loud and clear is that is not what happened. And you should stop using first-person language for a third-person beast event. Instead of first-person you versus you, go third-person you versus it. One won't hurt. Okay, that's the saying. You deserve it. Why you? Because it is talking to you. It is having a conversation with you. It has one goal, the malevolent SOB that it is. What is the SOB, the beast, referred to as it, which is what? The personification of all obesogenic forces, nothing more, nothing less. It has one goal. What is that one goal? Get you to take the first bite. So it is having a conversation with you, trying to convince you, cajole you, manipulate you into taking the first bite. So it'll say things like, hey, one won't hurt. You deserve it. You can start fresh tomorrow. You've been good all week. Just a small portion won't matter. You can work it off later. You might not ever get another chance. You only live once. Life's too short. It's overwhelming. You can't handle this. You've already messed up. Might as well continue. Everyone else is eating it. Why can't you? It's not you versus you. If you make it or keep it you versus you, you won't win this. You're not going to win an argument with yourself. I told myself to. I just convinced myself that. No, it's you versus it. You make it you versus it, where it is a malevolent force, a personification of all obesogenic forces with one goal, without any care whatsoever about you, about what your goals are, about what you really want. It could care less. It just wants you to take the first bite. Make it you versus it. You can win that. You can win that. Again, why do I want you to make it third person instead of first person? Because you're not going to win that argument with yourself. You are a good person. You are a person who tries to do good. You want the best for you most of the time, right? You are good to others most of the time. You try to be a good person. You probably live by the golden rule. You are mostly kind, helpful. And if you influence others, you often try to influence them in positive ways to try to help them, not hurt them. That's you, okay? So if it's you versus you, it's just you, this nice, kind, helpful, golden rule following person, having an argument with yourself. And if it's just you telling yourself to do something, that's an argument you're almost never going to win after a stimulus-based response. After that stimulus, trigger, you're not going to win the argument if it's you versus you. Because when it's you versus you, you don't see a threat. Where's the threat? You're a good person. You want the best for you. You try to be kind. You try to be good. Follow the golden rule. You try to be helpful. And if you influence others this in a positive way, where's the harm in that? How are you going to be harmed? It's you versus you. That's the problem. If it's you versus you, you don't see the threat. You don't see it coming. You're not listening for it when it's you versus you. You want the best for you. There's no threat. There's no threat perceived. So instead of you versus you, make it you versus it. The beast, the personification of all external and internal obesogenic forces. It is not a friend. It does not have your best interests at heart. It's a liar. It's a con artist, a manipulative narcissist that has one goal and only one, to get you to take the first bite. I don't know about you, but my blood can boil quick if I feel I'm being manipulated. But I don't mind being influenced. Manipulate me for your benefit and my harm, blood boil. Influence me in some positive way, love it. Don't mind that at all. In fact, I enjoy being positively influenced when the purpose is to help me grow, that supports a healthy mindset, that leaves me in whatever way a better person. Hell, I like being positively influenced by a video, a movie, a song. It feels good, doesn't it? Sure it does. But if you try and manipulate me for your benefit and my demise, I loathe that. Who doesn't, right? Look at me and lie to my face. I loathe that. And who doesn't? I'm not different, unique, special there. Who doesn't loathe that? I'm asking you to loathe its manipulation of you. You do it naturally anyway. Even if you're the most kind-hearted, forgiving person on earth, you don't enjoy being manipulated, lied to by a narcissist who doesn't care about you and lies to you every chance it gets for its only goal. I don't care how kind-hearted you are. No one likes that. The beast is an enemy. It's nasty. It's a manipulating narcissist. Hopefully it's clear. If it is clear, let me ask you something. I've said the beast is not a human form. It is just it. It's not your ex. It's not your former boss or whomever. But if it was a real person and its only goal was to hurt you, and you knew it would say and do anything to get you to take the first bite, to be hurt by that in so many ways, to rob you of your best life, rob you of progress, perpetually sabotaging your goals by those first bites, licks, tastes, and sips, right? Even to the point of an early death, if things don't get, controlled. If you knew the person was always trying to manipulate you, would you stand up for yourself? Would you? I think you probably would. That's what I'm asking you to do. Okay, back to the 3 steps. So step 1 was separate it from you. It's not you versus you. Step 2, personify it. Give it a face and a voice. I don't recommend you make it male or female. It's not someone you know or an ex-husband. Remember, it's the personification of all external and internal obesogens, nothing more or less. Just be able to picture it in your mind. Step 3, go to battle and stand up for yourself. The outcome is predictably negative if you take the first bite. You're going to get hurt. So it's time to go to battle by standing up for your best goal-driven self. How do you stand up for yourself? Well, first, make sure it's not a one-way conversation. Remember, it's talking to you. You deserve it. One won't hurt. Come on, everybody else is doing it. You're missing out. How are you going to live this way forever? Blah, 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 BS. Don't let it do all the talking. Talk back to it. Tell it off. Tell it to shut up. Let it know you hear it and see it for what it is. Counter its manipulation with facts, with elements of your why. And do so with the fervor you would if your life depended on it. Because it does. You're battling a killer, a narcissistic, malevolent enemy. Its goal, to get you to take the first bite. Your mission, listen, separate, personify, battle, and no first bites. You've got to listen for the voice. And there's only one bite you have to avoid, the first one. If you don't take the first bite, there won't be a second. The beast may go quiet at times, but it never leaves. Don't ever for a second think that it's left. But it may go quieter. It's always, I repeat, always present. From eyes open to eyes closed, the beast is there every single day, 365 days a year, no days off. Eyes open to eyes closed, every single day, 365, no days off. It's as constant as the rising sun. It's a daily foe. Its intensity fluctuates. Some days it's a whisper, others a deafening roar. But make no mistake, it never, ever disappears or relents. Complicating this daily confrontation is another adversary, amnesia. Now, I can't speak for every difficult endeavor that requires tremendous willpower, but I can speak for transformation and say that for weight fighters, amnesia is the rule, not an exception. We cannot count on memory, but we can count on amnesia. You cannot count on memory, but you absolutely can count on amnesia. Amnesia about what? Well, if you've defined your why, it's daily amnesia over the details and driving forces within your why. All that makes doing what's uncomfortable each day so worth it. You're going to forget the details of your why daily. Anyone ever see the movie 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore? I swear the amnesia I see rampant among weight fighters is like Drew's character, Drew Barrymore's character. Her character was Lucy, and it's like Lucy in the movie. Now Henry, the character played by Adam Sandler, he meets Lucy at a cafe one morning and they instantly hit it off. But the next day, Lucy has no memory of Henry or their previous meeting. Henry soon learns that Lucy was involved in a car accident that resulted in a brain injury, causing her to lose her memory every day when she sleeps. So, as a result, Lucy wakes up every morning thinking it's the same day of the accident. In the movie, the way they overcame Lucy's memory issue was Henry, Adam Sandler, created a videotape for her to watch every morning to remind her of her life and their relationship. And they crafted this video so that every morning she would wake up, they'd sit her down at the video, and at first she was always shocked, alarmed, surprised, incredulous that this had really happened, but they made the video in a way where she eventually would be reminded, or she would be at least aware of the situation. And they did this so that she would watch this video every single day, because her memory was gone as of the date of the accident. Every single morning she woke up. Well, I see the same thing. I really do. So often. A why is written, okay? But due to the inevitable amnesia factor, can't count on memory, you can count on amnesia, coupled with the ever-present obesogenic forces. What are the obesogenic forces with us? Eyes open to eyes closed every single day, 365, no days off. Every single day. Got a why written, got amnesia, got the beast, you got any number of other emotional fitness elements that could be out of whack or maybe not ideal, less than ideal on any given day, and you've got the perfect storm for not hearing the voice, making it you versus you. I convinced myself that. I decided to. I thought that I. You versus you. The nice, kind-hearted, golden rule following person was just having a little argument with yourself. No. But you don't hear it because you've got amnesia, obesogenic forces, some emotional fitness aspects going on, perhaps, so on and so on. So you don't hear the voice, you don't personify it, you don't battle it, and it sounds like an argument with yourself, which you often aren't going to win, those arguments with yourself. So a key strategy for hearing the manipulative line conversation from the beast prior to any first bite, stay with me here, a key strategy for hearing that manipulative voice, and by the way, there is always a conversation prior to the first bite. There's always a conversation prior to the first bite, often very short, but it's there. People have said to me, they've tried to argue with me and say, there's no conversation. You're not listening. You're not listening for it. You're not aware. You're not conscious of it, and you need to be. You need to be listening for its manipulative voice and see what it is saying, because it's there for sure, 100%. Strategy for hearing the manipulative voice, a strategy for personifying it and then going to battle with it and standing up for yourself in the space between the stimulus and response. A key strategy for overcoming the daily memory wipe like Lucy had from her traumatic brain injury accident that I'm referring to as amnesia here in transformation, the wiping away of all the details in your why and all the strengths in you that you've outlined in your why. A key strategy to get you all of these things. Are you ready? Here we go. Key strategy to get you all these things. Read your why. It'll help you with all these factors so you can better manage triggers and win the space between the stimulus and response. Read your why. As a ritual every single day. Bonus for recording yourself, audio recording. Recording yourself and listening to yourself on recording. As a student of LLU, unlike Lucy, you may not have a videotape of your why, but you can read it every day. You can record yourself reading it, play back the recording every day, and that's exactly what you should do. Until your progress is rock solid. And then, anytime it's not. When do we read our why? As a ritual. Every single day. And you get bonus if you record yourself reading it and listening to the recording. It's going to hit different when you listen to the recording, trust me. And you need to do that. You should do that. Unless and until your progress is rock solid, and then anytime it's not. You don't have to do it that for life, but unless and until your progress is rock solid or anytime it's not, you should. Each day, unless we read our why, we often find the intricate details of our mission slipping through the cracks of memory. Each day, we're caught in this dance. The beast tempts us towards the first bite, and our why, if remembered, coupled with gratitude and commitment, but the why starts it off. For a why is there, coupled with massive gratitude rather than poor mouthing and full send commitment, it will empower us to resist, to go long, to do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, whether we feel like it or not. That is my definition of willpower. Doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, whether we feel like it or not. You have the ability to have massive willpower. It comes from your why. It comes from gratitude attached to the why, and it comes from full send commitment. That's how we maintain willpower. Why power drives willpower. It's the start. This battlefield is not for the faint of heart. The beast, with its varying degrees of intensity, coupled with the daily amnesia that clouds our clarity, demands not just our attention, but our total, unwavering commitment. No escape, no retreat. It won't work if you hedge your bets. But if you're all in, full send commitment, coupled with your why, coupled with gratitude, and the other elements within the 6 pillars, you've got this. Winning the day, the spaces between the various stimuli and responses, and ultimately achieving the weight and fitness you want and deserve hinges on your preparedness. Armoring up by reading your why every day isn't optional to win. It's a necessity. Armor up even more by making your why more conspicuous throughout your day. Read it anytime you can foresee a stimulus coming and you know you may be more vulnerable. Reading it once a day is the bare minimum. You can read it 3, 4, 5 times a day. I recommend you read it multiple times a day as needed. Reading your why as a ritual every day is an act of defiance against amnesia, a declaration of war against the beast. A few caveats before I close this out. The beast is patient. It lies in wait. It never leaves, but it may go quiet for a while. Remember, it's with you. 365, eyes open to eyes closed, every single day, no days off. So keep your guard up, stay awake. I will say the longer you're successful, the longer you're more consistent, the quieter it gets. But know this, again, it never goes away. It's always present. Why? Because the beast is a personification of all things obesogenic. And all of those internal and external factors are always present. Are the internal and external obesogenic factors ever going to go away completely? Absolutely not. So it never fully goes away. If you take a first bite, it's almost a guarantee there will be a second and more, and you will get hurt. If you do take the first bite, do your best to call Dr. F. It's an acronym I created here at LLU. Dr. F is D, do no further harm, R, recover quickly, and F, fail forward with forgiveness. Forgive yourself as fast as you can. Be self-compassionate. One bite doesn't have to turn into 100. Okay? Number 3, the beast is going to try and get you to believe that I am full of crap. This whole subject, calling it the beast, the whole thing, it just sounds like mystification and demonization, and oh my God, there's almost a religious aspect to this. It's not. I explained that the beast is simply the personification of all external and internal obesogens. There's no religious connotation to it whatsoever. Number 4, any stimulus, aka trigger, can be what I call a door opener for the beast. Some of the most common door openers include when you are overly hungry, angry, lonely, tired, guilty, a perfectionist, celebratory, ashamed, a catastrophizer, fearful, feeling dishonorable, unworthy, being indecisive, in what the hell mode, like what the hell, I may as well, or when you procrastinate taking action. All of those things are common stimuli / door openers to the beast. The beast sees any stimulus as an invitation to manipulate and get you to take the first bite. So stay on the alert, listen, be aware of those common door openers. Do your best to reduce them as best you can. None of us does it perfectly. Number 5, with proper beast management, the frequency and intensity of your cravings and beast conversations are going to go down dramatically. As this happens, the beast lies in wait, patiently waiting for you to get cocky. And getting cocky is, I'm going to say it straight up here. I want you to win this, so I got to be straight up honest with you and straightforward. Early overconfidence and cockiness is the norm in transformation, not the exception. And it's quite harmful to the process. Early overconfidence, even arrogance, is the rule, I will say, in people. Because it feels so good when you get some progress that people often have that tendency to get overly cocky and arrogant. I got this now. I got it whipped. I got it. No, you don't. This is a marathon. The beast is always there. You want to make sure that you pay really close attention to that arrogance factor. And you want to make sure that you keep respectful fear as a good thing. Respectful fear is good. Not cowering in the corner, quivering, shaking, but respectful fear is good. Confidence matched with humility, good. Arrogance, cocky, very bad. It's going to go really bad. Watch for that early arrogance, too early overconfidence. The result is not going to be good. Okay? You've been doing good for so long. Don't you think it's time to have? No. You've been doing good for 3 days. Settle down. You got a long way to go. And I don't say that to be negative. I say that to be real. It's like, good. Celebrate. Feel good about it. Don't get arrogant or cocky about it. Keep humility matched with the confidence. Number 6, your history isn't the last word about your future. Every battle you win against the beast becomes a part of your new history as you become stronger and more empowered. You can win this. It may be easy when you've got all the pillars in place. It may not. But whether it's easy or not is not the question. Whether it's worth it is the question. I'll say this. If it isn't easy, make sure you stay straight and true and aware that the path of tension reliever, always turning to ultra-processed frankenfood for all of the emotional highs and lows in life, that's not easy either. It's just easier to eat junk. No, it's not. Living in shame, feeling like a failure, always falling short of your goals and the life you deserve, that's easy? Come on now. But you can win this. You can. Okay? Keep all the pillars in place. Embrace the struggle. Go all in on a strong why. Maximum gratitude. Full send commitment. Keep all the pillars in place. Pillar 1, nutrition. Pillar 2, physical activity. Pillar 3, emotional fitness. Pillar 4, why power. Pillar 5, triggers management. Pillar 6, engaging support. Embrace the struggle. Okay? It paves the way for your brighter days ahead. It really does. That's it for this week's live. I hope you put these strategies into place. I hope this updated Beast review was helpful. It's kind of my latest thinking. Wanted to bring in some of the newest, latest from this. I've been teaching the Beast for over 15 years now, but it has been refined and really come a long way since I first thought of it 15 or so years ago, and how to really conceptualize it so we can get out of that you versus you and personify it so we can make it you versus it. All right? I want you to win that space between the stimulus and response. This process, this transformation journey, so much about winning it is winning the space. Winning the space between stimulus and response. The more you can win the space, like a stimulus, a trigger occurs, got it. There is a space there. We need enough emotional fitness to even see there's a space there. We need enough emotional fitness and why power and gratitude and commitment to be able to press the pause button in that space and make the better choice. The better choice of response, because it is in that response that lies our growth and freedom, as Dr. Viktor Frankl so eloquently said in his quote about the stimulus space response relationship. Until next time, let's focus on what we want. Let's be grateful for what we already have. And remember, it's all happening perfectly. See you guys on campus. You know where to find me. Please do. Here for you for anything you need. Bye-bye.